Welcome to this episode of the Brush and Soap and Blade Podcast, where we look forward to shaving every day. Welcome to episode 86 of the podcast. My name is Rick Demise. I'll be your host this week. This week we got a couple of shaves of the day. I'll tell you what I'm doing for preparation for the Boy Scout Exporee that we're having this weekend, as a matter of fact. Throwing another shave of the day. I'm thinking about getting one of my older straight razors restored. You know, I've thought about buying straight razors, but now I'm kind of leaning toward getting one of my older ones restored. So I'll tell you about that a little bit. Another shave of the day. We need to have a little bit more tolerance. Well, in everything, in our daily lives, and just, you know, how we deal with each other, and like how we deal with each other on the forums and in Facebook, and, you know, yeah, let's talk about tolerance. And then I'll throw in another shave of the day, and then the final segment this week is The Demise, Part 2. And this is a kind of a second part of a segment that I did way long time ago called The Demise of Men. And, well, this is part 2 of the same discussion. So anyhow, that's the show for this week. Let's start off with an email, and then we'll get into the rest of it. And, well, let's get going. I got an email from Chris. I purchased a Lord Tech from Amazon after listening to your last episode. I have an old ball-end Tech that has seen better days, but gives nice shaves when used. I have prime and figured for $8.95. If it doesn't shave well, I can give it to my toddler son for, well, his shaves. I used it this morning and was very pleasantly surprised. 3 passes gave me a BBS face with no cuts or irritation. I think this may become my daily razor for the next few weeks. Thanks for letting me know about this hidden gem, Chris. Well, Chris, first off, I am very glad it worked out for you, and we need to give a shout out to Mark, because Mark's the one that sent us the letter last week to let us know about this hidden gem. It's a Lord razor, and it's good stuff. It's and in fact I found it on it's a Lord Tech aluminum handle and head, and it's identical to the vintage Tech 3-piece. And so they are available on Amazon. You can find them. In fact, I'll put a link up in the show notes for them, and so you can go over to the blog BrushnSoapnBlade.wordpress.com and check them out. But yeah, in fact, I've got one on my wish list, and when I get around to making my next order from Amazon, I may pick one up just to well, experiment with it a little bit and see what all the hoopla is about. So I was inspired by an email. I was inspired by the email that I read last week, well, from Mark, when he talked about the Gillette Techs that he has and enjoys and loves because they do such a good job. Well, going back into my collection, I went and found a cased fat-handled Tech that I had that I always really, really liked, and I hadn't shaved with very much. So I went ahead and dragged out the old fat-handle chrome-plated Tech. Beautiful razor. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful razor. Now the case is a little beat up. It's a metal case, and the case, I will admit, is a little twisted and beat up, and you know, just kind of abused. I've got another one. It's a Bakelite handle Tech that has a case that's just about perfect, but this one has a bit of a beat up case, but that's okay. I mean, my gosh, how old is this thing? You know, it's from back in the 40s or so, maybe 50s. But, you know, you're looking at least a 50-year-old razor here. So, you know, the case is allowed to be beat up. And the razor itself is, well, rather pristine. So, all is good. Anyhow, I went ahead and said to myself, well, self, Let's go ahead and put the best Gillette blade in this Gillette Tech, and for me, that happens to be the Gillette Silver Blue. Now, keep in mind, this is subjective and personal opinion. The Gillette Silver Blue may not be the best Gillette blade for you, but that's up to you to find out, and that's part of the fun. You have to unlock the code of your own preference, and that's the nice thing. Now, you got to remember, though, in unlocking the code of your own preference, you have to realize that everyone has their own code. And what is preferential for some people is not for others. And so getting into arguments and hysteria about what, one thing is better than another, come on. No, it's your perception that it's better. It may not be for somebody else. But anyhow, I digress. The shave of the day was absolutely, fabulous. It really was. I had just an exceptionally smooth, irritation-free shave, which is, again, exactly what Mark was talking about in his email the other day, that, held at the right angle and treated correctly. A Gillette Tech, which is not a terribly expensive razor, will give a fantastic shave. Now, on the other hand, I did have one slight issue. On my my left cheek, no matter how many times I went over, I think I ended up doing about 6 passes on that cheek, I could not get the Tech razor to basically finish the job, as it were. There was always some trace of stubble left. So, I did what any, self-respecting razor owner would do. I lathered up, whipped out a straight razor, and finished things off. It is a flat surface, and it is probably the one place where my straight razors just phenomenally shine. There's very little technique in shaving a flat surface with a straight razor. That's why they suggest that you start off that way, because that way you're. For me, it's always been, how do I hold? Okay, I can hold my right hand like this. I usually don't have a problem with the right hand. But the left hand, it's almost like, the right side of my brain, which controls the left hand, just doesn't want to, just doesn't want to do things like that. It's just strange. So over time, you get to a point where you have the dexterity and you can make your hands do what they're supposed to do and hold the razor in the positions, that it's supposed to hold it in to make things work right. But anyhow, back to the shave of the day. Now, the Gillette Tech and the Silver Blue, again, beautiful handle on the fat handle Tech. I've got one chrome and I've got one that's gold. It's just gold plated, so it's worn thin and everything else, and it's just a beautiful handle. It really is. It feels good. It's not. It's lightweight though. It's you look at it and you go, wow, that should be fairly heavy, but it's not. It's lightweight because essentially the Tech handles for the most part were just tubes. They had inserts on both ends, but the handle itself was essentially just a lightweight brass tube. From a manufacturing standpoint, a great concept. Now, granted, over time and with, abuse, they have a tendency to crack and to do things like that. Not the fat handles. The fat handles seem to be fairly robust, but some of the ball ends, for example, they have a tendency to crack and things like that, especially up on the razor end. Anyhow, the Gillette Silver Blue, of course, is, for me, a mild razor, but an exceedingly smooth razor. No irritation to be had with that blade. So that was a good thing. Now, the soap that I used was Phoenix Artist Accoutrements, PAA, or Phoenix. I'll just call them Phoenix. Speakeasy. And beautiful soap, a lovely soap. It functions just wonderfully. It really does. But the smell, I'm just when I buy these things, I will look at what the profile is supposed to be initially when I order them, and I will place my orders based on that. Okay. But then when I get them, I'll use them for a while and see what I can pick up and see what's there, and I really don't go back and look at the scent profiles. It's not like I keep a catalog of these things and flip through the pages and go, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to talk about, and that's what I'm supposed to. No, I play this by ear because, to my thinking, what I would normally do is I would use a soap and say, yeah, I like it, and maybe put it back under the counter, and then sometime in the future, I would open things up and pull it out again. And I probably would not look at the scent profile. So that's just one of those things. The Phoenix soap was, again, lathered beautifully, performed beautifully, but the scent profile was just, I don't know, obscure. I really couldn't pick it out. It just, I really couldn't pick it out. So I'll keep playing with it. This is the first day, so we'll keep playing with the scent and see what we can find and see what's in there, as it were. Now to finish up, I use some Phoenix. Well, now Phoenix. It's one of the original bottles. How to Grow a Mustache, Bay Rum. My wife is standing there, and I said, "Look, it's the Bay Rum that you don't like." She's like, "I know." Okay. Anyhow, figure I might as well use it up. I mean, if she doesn't like it, okay, fine. I do. I'll still keep a bottle of Ogallala. It's just what I'm going to do. But anyhow, that's what I finished up. So it was kind of a combination shave today. It was both the Gillette Tech, which did an absolutely superb job in everything except one cheek. And it ended up taking an against the grain pass with the straight razor in order to clear that up. Now the thing that's interesting is I did do against the grain passes, like 3 of them with the Tech, and it just wasn't getting it done. And it was just on that one side. Everything else is, perfect. It's curious. Anyhow, straight razor finished it off, so I'll post a picture and. If you have if you're wondering why the heck is there a straight razor and a DE razor in there, well, now you know the rest of the story. Well, it's another beautiful day here in the upstate of South Carolina. Absolutely gorgeous, lovely spring day. And I've got a clean shave, a wonderful clean shave to celebrate. It's beautiful. Okay, so shave of the day. Shave of the day. This week we're using the Gillette Fat Handle Tech, the chrome cased set that I have. And it's doing a marvelous job. And in fact, it actually did a better job this morning than yesterday. And quite honestly, I don't know why. That's just curious. Anyhow, the soap of the day was Phoenix Speakeasy, and lathered that up with the Samog 1305 Boar Brush, wonderful brush, as well as the salsa bowl. It's salsa bowls all the time. I love salsa bowls. It's funny. I've got a couple of ceramic bowls, but the ones that I always choose, the one that I always pick up, the one that seems to get used consistently and constantly is my $1.50 salsa bowl. Now, the other thing that's interesting, and I probably need to change this, is that in my salsa bowl, I have one that I have roughed up the inside with, I believe, either 60 or 80 grit sandpaper. And that's the one that I use for lathering, and then I have a smooth one that I use in the sink, and I get those two mixed up every now and then, and there is a discernible difference in the lathering capabilities of those two bowls. So I'm going to have to get with the program here and rough up the inside of the smooth-sided salsa bowl so that I have two that are the same. That way I can mix and match, and it doesn't matter which one I pick up first, because oftentimes when I'm cleaning them out, I put the roughed up one on top, and then I pick it up first, and I run warm water in it to soak the brush, and then I have the smooth one to lather in. Unacceptable. Just absolutely unacceptable. Anyhow, I digress. So the 1305 soaked up and the Phoenix Speakeasy. Now, I did bloom the soap today. I just wanted to find out if that makes any difference at all with this soap, and it really, I don't know, it doesn't. It makes it easier to load. Okay, the loading of the brush is in fact easier once you bloom the soap. It makes it just a little bit softer. You don't have to use quite as much water, and in fact, in this go around, I didn't use any additional water. Just shook the brush out, and then the water that remained after I poured off the bloom water was really all that I needed to get an absolutely beautiful lather. So, you know, blooming it makes it easier to load. It makes it potentially easier to get a good lather with. It didn't do anything, at least in my, in my opinion, it didn't do anything for the scent profile, or it didn't change anything. It didn't, new smells did not waft out of the lather or off of the puck. Let's put it that way. But, so it's still, you know, it's supposed to be an old-fashioned scent soap, and maybe, but it's very mild. It's I don't know. It's not any, for me. And again, like I said the other day, this stuff is subjective, and that's the nice thing. I mean, you know, if we're gonna sit there and say we have the right to voice our opinions, well, then we also have to sit there and say that I have to value other people's opinions instead of sitting there pounding on the table and going, no, you're wrong. So, since this is very much opinion-based, you know, you can shout out at the radio or the iPhone or whatever and say, no, you're wrong. And I understand that. But for me, this is just a mild smelling soap that I don't know. It's okay. It's just from a scent profile, it doesn't jump out at me as something, well, special. It's nice, you know, but it's kind of like some of those medium razor blades. You know, they're nice, but they're not the ones that you write home about, the ones that you covet, the ones that you go out of your way when you happen to be perusing, a wet shaving place on the internet and go, "Ooh, yeah, I need some of those." Click. Yeah, you know, I've got it. Okay, I probably wouldn't buy it again if magically and mysteriously I ran out of this stuff. Would I buy it again? Probably not. It's just now as far as performance. Well, oh my gosh, it's just. The performance of Phoenix soaps has always been just spectacular. I've always enjoyed them. So if you have an excellent performing soap, well then you go to what's next on the list of things that are needed. It's okay. Lathers well, check. Performs well, check. Good cushion, good glide, check. Okay. Scent profile. That you like. Okay. So anyhow, it's, I'm not trying to beat up on Phoenix. The smell is just not for me. And the soap is, like I said, the soap is absolutely superb. Now the razor. Okay, so I'm using the Gillette fat handled Tech. Again, it's case set, and I've got a Gillette silver blue blade in it. Now, yesterday, on my left cheek, I went over my left cheek against the grain 4 times, 3 times, something like that, and still could not get everything cleaned up. Okay? In fact, I ended up grabbing my case straight razor, and in one pass and one fell swoop, I had a perfectly smooth cheek in any direction I cared to move my hand. Okay? But I was not able to do that with the Gillette, which had me just a little, concerned, because I don't recall that happening before. Maybe it was just a freak of nature. I don't know. So I was looking forward to today's shave to find out, okay, is this something that is going to be habitual? Is this just the way it's going to be, or what? So I get done with today's shave, and lo and behold, perfection. Absolute perfection. Now, okay, I will admit, I've only been doing this a couple of years, so it is possible. It is possible that my technique was just a bit off. Okay, it was all messed up. I don't know. It could be. But considering the fact that I got everything else on my face and neck just right, it was just the cheek, which is a flat surface. It's usually easy to get. It's just, I don't know, it just didn't make sense. It still really doesn't. So anyhow, this morning, it was like perfect. So we'll have to see what it is tomorrow to see which way the trend goes. Because right now it's 50 one way, 50 the other way. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, good stuff. So anyhow, it's that was kind of the shave of the day. Finished off with some ogallala, some cedar and sage and bay rum. It's a pleasant scent. I enjoy the scent when it goes on. I wish it was just a touch more bay rummy. But oh well, that's okay. That's why I bought it, to find out, to sample, to check it out. So there you go. That was the shave of the day today, and beautiful day. Things went exceedingly well for the shave. Hopefully they'll go exceedingly well for the day. And kind of looking forward to see what, today brings. Well, I've been getting ready for the Boy Scout Exporee that we're having this year. Now, a Boy Scout Exporee only happens every 3 years, and there's a lot of troops and a lot of guys coming to this thing, and I mean it's a huge deal in the scouting world, and so it's all good stuff. We live in a community that has a lot of scouting troops, and so that is good, and have a lot of fun doing it. And one of the things that I will be doing at this Exporee is setting up ham radio station. That's kind of one of our troop specialties, and so I'll be getting there early on Friday. It's going to be over Friday and Saturday and Sunday. So May 1st. Through the 3rd, we're going to be at an airport, and the airport is used by Lockheed Martin to refurbish military planes, and so they've got a section there that where the planes are not flying over, and so we're going to be setting up there. A huge contingent of scouts. There'll probably be between 400 and 600 scouts and adults and everything there. So a lot of people. Good time, ham radio, good camaraderie and everything. Some of these people from some of the other troops we don't ever see. We see our local troops once or twice a year, but the other troops we don't see but every 3 years. So that's kind of cool, and it gives an opportunity for the kids to make friends and all that. So if you're into scouting, if you're into Cub Scouting and stuff like that, or Boy Scouts, and you have a camporee or an exporee or something, try to make those, because they are a lot of fun, and they're big. So camporees, for the uninitiated, are the small district events. Just the troops from the district. So you're probably looking at 5 to 10, maybe 15 troops thereabouts. But the exporees are the ones that they bring in all the troops from the whole council, and so there's probably, I don't know, 60 troops. It's a bunch. It's a bunch. So anyhow, we're looking forward to that and trying to get everything. It's been kind of a distraction because I picked up some radios, some inexpensive Chinese radios that I am programming so that the boys can use them during the Exporee. I have a little repeater system that, well, I say little, it's actually a pretty big repeater system. Put on a great big mast and stick it up there in a campsite and basically give radio coverage to, well, everything. And so that's good. But we've got some radios that I spent last night programming so that the boys can use them and well, sort of kind of stay out of trouble anyhow. Give them a couple of additional channels that are not ham channels. So it's just give them the ability within the purviews of correct radio operation to have fun, experience radios and amateur radios and things like that, and have a good time. So anyhow, that's kind of what I've been doing. So it, like I said, it is a bit of a distraction, and well, there you go. Well, today was an interesting day from a shave of the day point of view. The other day, the first day that I was testing out the Phoenix Soap Speakeasy and my fat-handled tech, what I did was I started out with the fat-handled tech and I cleaned up with the straight razor. This time, well, seeing as how it was Saturday morning, I did it the other way around. So I did a shave with my straight razor, my little case straight razor, and proceeded to clean up with the fat-handled tech. Walked out of there with a BBS shave. It was marvelous. It was absolutely fabulous. Best of all worlds. Straight razor just doing a fabulous job on the areas that I could get to. Cleaned up on the neck with the safety razor, the Gillette Fat Handle Tech, and as I stated, marvelous. BBS. Finished off with some Clubman Pinot, and out the door to help somebody out in the community. Did a service project with the Boy Scouts this morning, and helped a fella out and his family, and took a whole hour. So I figured, to do something nice for someone in the community, an hour is an hour. An hour is well spent and everything. So all in all, good stuff this morning. So one of my straight razors, one of the 4 straight razors that I have, I'm looking to potentially get restored. It's a very, very nice straight razor. Nice chunk of steel. Oh, yeah, it's good stuff. But I attempted a while ago to put a handle on the thing, and of course, I'm an amateur at this, and so it turned out, well, shoddy. And, the handle's nice and everything, but, the pinning was absolutely pitiful. In fact, it really wasn't. It was just kind of bent over. It just sucked. So I'm looking at the potential of getting this thing professionally restored. Yeah, I need to get it honed anyhow, so this is not necessarily a bad thing. So I have been. I sent some pictures to a fella who may take a look at it and say, yeah, we can do something with that. So we'll see what happens. But right now, it was one of those things where I threw up on Facebook and I said, look, I'm looking, I would like to buy a good, straight razor, something less than about $200 or so that looks nice and that would do well and everything. And And somebody suggested, well, if you've got an old one, why not restore it? And okay, so my straight razor. So I've got my case, and it's really all it needs is honing. You know, the blade itself is stained a little bit. It's not really pitted; it's more stained. But that doesn't affect the performance at all, and so I don't really want to do anything with that. I may send it out to get it honed, but that would be about it. The other one is the gold dollar razor that I have, which actually does a really good job. You know, I know there's a lot of people that don't like them and think, you know, but it actually does a really good job. And quite honestly, to a certain extent, that was my my training razor, if you will. That was the one that, you know, I started out with the case because I had it, and I attempted to sharpen it and everything, and, you know, I failed miserably because I'm not a honer at all. And so you know, but I started out with that thing and kind of learned a few basic movements and things like that with it over time. And so, you know, then I got the gold dollar, and it came already honed, and quite honestly, especially when you look at the price of the thing, it was like, holy crap, for the price is not a bad value. Yeah, is it a superb razor? No, it's a gold dollar. I mean, come on. You know, it's like, yeah, I don't know. But, you know, for the longest time, that was what I used predominantly for straight razor shaves, only because I had it. It was honed. It was in good shape. Now, since then, I sent off a couple other razors, or my other razor to get honed. I've got a black handle one that's rather ornate. The problem is that it's got nicks in it. It's got chips in it, and I don't know the history of the razor. I don't know if somebody tried to clean it up with a Dremel and made it brittle. You know, I don't know. So, you know, it's definitely possible, but it does have a pretty good chip in it, and yeah, it's still usable and all, but it's also got this darn straight point, you know, just square cut point on the thing. And I'm here to tell you, if I hang myself anywhere on that razor, it's on that point. You know, it's got a chip in it, and the chip has never bothered me, but that point has bit me a time or two. And quite honestly, since I am clean shaven, don't have beard or mustache or goatee or anything like that, I have no reason for a square cut point, or, you know, a Spanish tip or anything like that. I just don't need it. And so there you go. That's kind of what I've got. Well, then I've got this other one that I bought, well, just as a blade, and I've had it for a while, but it's I believe it's in English. I'm pretty sure it's Sheffield. But I sent him some pictures, and I may, like I said, get that thing restored. You know, kind of cleaned up a little bit. It's a little dark, which is cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I'd really be happy with it if when it comes back, it's just honed with a new set of scales on it. That would do just fine for me. But anyhow, there you go. That's kind of what we're doing on the straight razor front. It's nice to have them. You know, and quite honestly, it's nice to know how to use them. It was really kind of neat yesterday when I had an issue with my fat handled tech giving me a smooth shave on one cheek, to just lather up and throw a straight razor to it, and voila, everything is just perfect. That's nice. It's nice to have that flexibility, to have the knowledge, the wherewithal, the capacities and capabilities. You know, it's so that part of the journey has actually been rather interesting. I mean, you know, so far it's one of those things where, okay, you know, learning how to lather. Yeah, that was a pretty good step. You know, that was pretty important. Learning correct angles for DE and you know, double-edged and single-edged blades. Yeah, that was pretty good. Probably the I'm not going to say the hardest, but the one that I put the most, well, I can't even say that, because I probably put the same amount of effort into learning how to lather. But probably the those two, the next one up would be shaving with a straight razor. That was, and I am not an expert. Don't get me wrong. I'm not an expert at any of this, I still, every now and then you'll nick yourself and cut yourself and everything. I mean, like I said, anybody says they're an expert at this stuff, I don't know, unless they're a barber that does, 10, 20 faces a day, maybe. And maybe it's one of those things where, yeah, as long as I'm doing somebody else's face, I'm an expert. Doing my own, I don't think so. It's like the age-old story, you walk into a barber shop and there's two barbers there, One's got a good haircut and one doesn't. Which one do you go to? Especially if they're the only barbers in town. Yeah, who do you go to? So, anyhow, it's... there you go. That's kind of what's happening on the straight razor front. Again, it's an investigation at this point, just to see what's possible, what's doable, and if I want to go that direction. And I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I do. So we'll see. I'll let you know. So I'm back in action in the truck. Had to take a day off. Just because silly me let the batteries die and didn't change them out, and well, there you go. It's hard to do a show on a digital recorder when the digital recorder batteries are dead. Proverbial bricks. So, anyhow, we got that changed out this morning, and so I actually have 2 shaves of the day to speak of. So, I had an interesting thing go on yesterday with the shave of the day. I'm using the Phoenix Speakeasy soap, which I have come to the conclusion has a preponderance of bergamot in it, and the other stuff is just, well, I don't know, if it's there, it's just absolutely trace amounts, and it's the bergamot that I smell. There you go. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just I bought it for some of the other scents, and I'm not getting any of those. So it's just, you stack it up to one of those issues, one of those items, one of those things that, well, you thought it was going to be something, and it turned out to not be, and, you just kind of go, well, crap. So anyhow, we did that, and so yesterday again I was using the Gillette Tech, my fat handle Tech, and the day before I got an excellent shave out of it, and then Monday I went and shaved with it, and it was just so. It was, I don't know, it was not as smooth as what I can normally get. So I was like, well, okay. So anyhow, today I went and I decided, and I really didn't have much extra time, but I went ahead and did it anyhow. I find I have gotten much faster with a straight razor. As I do it more often, my speed is building, and so I'm not as fast as what I can do with a safety razor, but I'm not far behind. I think it would probably be the equivalent of the time it would take me to do, I don't know, maybe a slow 4-pass shave instead of if I'm really in a hurry, yeah, I'm going to grab the safety razor and do a quick 2 or 3 pass and call it a day. But what I've found and what I'm getting to the point of is that I can do a straight shave almost as fast as I can a safety shave, which is really something that I didn't anticipate nor expect. So it's been, again, quite a journey. And in fact, this weekend I used my straight razor, again with just a cleanup from the Gillette Tech. And it's interesting. It's almost like, okay, before I was kind of using the straight razor as a cleanup for in certain spots for the safety razor, and now I've kind of turned it around where I'm kind of using the safety as a cleanup for the straight. Again, completely unanticipated. It's almost like my shaving has, well, evolve to the next level. At least that's what I feel like. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I still thoroughly enjoy my my safety razors, and will continue to use them. But I have the capacity now, it appears, to do straight shaves. And in fact, this morning I did a straight shave, 3-pass, quick touch up with the Gillette Tech, and good to go. Even splashed on some Ogallala Bay rum, and again, no sting, no burn, no irritation. It's like, what the heck? It's like, am I getting that good at this? It's really amazing. It's I don't know, kind of a wonder. It's almost like I'm walking out, in the morning, not only clean shaven and ready to fight the day, but also, well, to a certain extent, feeling rather invincible. I mean, it's it's one thing if you get a clean shave with a safety razor and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I got this. This is pretty cool. I'm here to tell you, it's a whole nother level when you slap that naked blade up against your skin and walk away unscathed with absolutely no irritation. Wow. It's like the difference for me between a high school track meet, a college track meet, and the Olympics. I'm standing on a podium with a gold medal around my neck right now. I mean, in attitude, that's where I'm at. So it's really kind of cool. Now, it's taken me a long time to get here, and I've made a lot of mistakes. So don't be intimidated. If you are just starting out, for example, don't think, oh my gosh, I'll never make it. It'll come. And even if you don't go there, that's okay too, because in the wonderful world of shaving, one of the nice things is that, well, it's like your choice in clothes. It's personal. It truly is. It is an exceedingly personal thing, and that's good. Well, we have gotten somewhere in society that is, well, kind of a sad place, really. Let's talk for a minute about tolerance. Okay. It's been really sad, and you see it everywhere. It permeates everything that we do. And what I'm talking about is an just exceptional lack of tolerance. We have gotten to the point in this country because we have been fed, we have been marketed to, we have been sold the idea that one way is right and one way is wrong. Now, we have been sold this on many, many different levels. And in fact, I would dare say that, the big companies like Gillette and Bic would like to be able to sell us on the idea that wet shaving with double-edged and single-edged razors and, oh my gosh, straight razors is wrong, and shaving with plastic disposable cartridge razors is right. It's to the point where there are issues that are out there, whether a person enjoys a double-edged razor or not, whether a person enjoys a certain soap or a brush or not. Now, again, the act of shaving and the items that are used is an exceedingly personal choice. But we've gotten to the point, for some reason, that we have absolutely no tolerance for people's personal choices. If the personal choice is not what I would choose, well, then obviously they're wrong. It doesn't work like that, guys. It just doesn't. If a person makes a choice to ride a bicycle to work, that's fine. That's their personal choice. I can choose to ride a motorcycle or get in a car. Okay? It doesn't make them right or me wrong or vice versa. It really doesn't. It's a personal choice. And we've gotten to the point in this society, again with marketing, that if a person does not agree with our group, with our tastes, with our desires, with our, thoughts on how things should be, they are automatically disparaged, attacked, gone after, insulted, and it's just sad. It really is. I mean, you look in the arena of political ideas. There's basically this side or this other side, nothing in between. And if you don't agree with one or the other, it doesn't really matter what your thoughts are. You're just wrong and suitable to attack. It is really an amazing just disintegration of civility in our society. And you have to ask yourself, who gains? Who benefits from that? It certainly is not the people out here in the population of the society. It's not us. But yet we do it because we see, and it is demonstrated to us by, everyone. Politicians, media stars, movies, everything. Everywhere you look. It is a marketing scheme. And it's very, very effective. And it's terribly unfortunate. Because the thing that benefits from it is the people, first off, that do the marketing. Because if they control what you think and how you react, then all of a sudden they control you. You don't even know it. And they control you. Because now you're not making your own mind up. You're waiting for someone else to tell you how to feel and how to react. And it's just, you don't even realize it's happening. But it is. I dare say that if somebody came out and said, I like cartridge razors better, it would be an interesting discussion as to find out what it is about a cartridge razor that they enjoy more than a double-edged or a single-edged razor. I would really enjoy having that conversation. But the one thing that I would not do is tell them that they are wrong. Because for them, it may be the best choice. And I'm okay with that. I like to think that I'm flexible enough, that I'm understanding enough, that I enjoy understanding other people's viewpoints and opinions, and I don't necessarily want to give them mine. My opinions are mine, and they're really not for lease, rent, or sale. So I don't know, I get on Facebook every now and then, and I will admit, I do not live on Facebook. So I avoid, just by the very nature of the fact that I don't get on very much, I avoid a lot of the drama. I find it amusing that they call it drama. I avoid, because I don't go on forums much, I avoid the stuff that's on forums. I really do. I avoid the, I don't know, just... It's real, again, it's disheartening. It's sad when I run into it. I look at it and I read it, and it's like a part of my soul just dies. Because it's one more stake in the heart of civility. When it gets to a point where you can't even have a meaningful discussion, and quite honestly don't even know how to carry one on, it's just... We've lost the ability to tolerate other people's opinions. Now, the sad part is that, just like almost everything in life, there's more than one way to skin a cat, as the saying goes. And just because you start at the head and I start at the feet, I mean, it still gets the job done. And it may get the job done quite suitably. But it's different. It really is amazing. It absolutely is. You look at and to me it seems like there are some people that go out there and create and cause drama, if you will, through a lack of tolerance on purpose. In fact, I believe they call them trolls. And they get great amusement out of watching the reactions or reading the reactions. They like to push people's buttons. They really do. And the thing that is so amazing and intriguing is that they are so successful at it. It really is. It's amazing when they can go in and just kind of push a couple of buttons and stand back and watch everything just blow up. Now, I understand that when people are intentionally inflammatory, yeah, they can get a reaction. I get that. But the thing that I've seen more and more of late is just regular folks that would not normally be of that ilk jumping in and getting upset about things that really have no significance, really, especially when it's one man's opinion. You know, a person's opinion only has significance on your life if you happen to take their opinion to heart and decide to use their opinion to change, well, your life. And the thing is that no matter how much you jump up and down and shout, you can't change anybody else. They can only change themselves. So you can jump up and down all you want, and it may have absolutely no effect at all other than to get you kind of out of breath and excited and everything else because you've been jumping up and down. Everybody else is looking around and, well, they're forming their own opinions. And hopefully, when they form those opinions, somebody will tolerate it and not attack them for it. And hopefully, those opinions will not just be a herd of lemmings following each other off a cliff somewhere, but actually be formed by, individuals at an individual level for individual reasons. It's just, again, it's sad. When I see people who don't tolerate opinions, that's when you have to stand back and go, wait a minute, what's going on here? It's just one man's opinion. It's not like somebody's passed a law and says you have to do it this way, or you have to like this, or you have to, No, it's an opinion. Anyhow, I just wanted to say that because, again, we've gotten to a point where we're bobbing and weaving because somebody is telling us to bob and weave. And it's pervasive. And it's everywhere. It's just absolutely everywhere. It's in everything we do. Hey, watch a television commercial. Essentially what they're telling you is, this is the thing that you're supposed to like, and you're not supposed to like anything else. This is the sports team that you're supposed to like. And if you got somebody from the other sports team, well, you're supposed to hate them. Now, I understand good-natured ribbing. I partake in that myself. But there are some people, as you well know, that take that stuff absolutely dead serious. And if they run across a member of another sports team's fans, they will, it's got to the point where they will physically abuse them. I'm sorry, but who benefits there? The sports team from selling gear? The news media, because now they have a story? The government, because now they can pass a law and say, ooh, it's a hate crime. Yeah, that's good stuff. Meanwhile, the population suffers, and society suffers. It really is amazing when you look around and you start digging into the root cause of what's going on. Who benefits? A lot of times they say follow the money. Well, follow the money, follow the influence, follow the storylines. If something happens because basically two groups or two, people are at each other's throats, who's benefiting? Who's got the news? Who's making the laws? Who's basically either allowing it to happen or egging it on? And how do they benefit? It really is amazing. Because if you look at it from that perspective, oftentimes you can discern very quickly who it is and why. And then you got to wonder, are they that shallow that they'll allow other people to just fall apart, go at each other's throats, etc., just for their own benefit? And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, the answer is absolutely. Now, if you think about it at a large scale, and you see how often it happens at that large scale, is it any wonder that those attitudes, that the demonstration of those tendencies makes it all the way down into a shaving community? It's no surprise to me. It's just sad. Well, it's a bit of a rainy day here in the upstate of South Carolina this morning, which is okay, I suppose. Don't know how long it's going to last. Haven't looked at the weather map. It's interesting. In the spring, it's supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be kind of temperature swings and rain and a little bit of dry, and then some more rain and a little bit of dry, and then some more rain. So it's all good. It's all normal. Thankfully, it's not snow, and thankfully, it is rain. So all is good. Now, the shave of the day today, it really was a really nice shave. I was in a bit of a hurry, so just a quick 2-pass with some touch-up with the Gillette Fat-Handled Tech, the final go-around with the Phoenix Speakeasy soap, and then finished off with some clean vetiver from Fine, and all is good. Used my Samog 830 brush. Haven't given it any attention here lately, so used it. Of course, it's broken in just as nicely as the 1305 has, so it is an exceedingly soft brush. Really, really nice. It's amazing. It really is amazing because those brushes, they don't shed at this point much. I mean, I don't think I've lost very many bristles out of them at all. And quite honestly, at this point, I am of the conclusion that a Samog brush will always be in the stable. And for someone starting out, you can't go wrong with a Samog brush, in my opinion. I know there's fans of Omegas and things like that. I've got an Omega brush. It's an Omega bore brush. It's got really long bristles in it. And I've used it a bit. Even though I've used it a bit, it still hasn't broken in quite to the same level of softness as the Samog. And quite honestly, I just don't like it as much. It's a good brush. It's not like it's horrific or anything. I just don't like it as much. And I don't know if it's because it's got the long bristles or it's just not as not as soft. The tips didn't split quite as nicely or what. I mean, I don't know quite exactly what it is, but for me, the Samog brushes, especially the 830 and the 1305, are those are the winners in the low cost price point of brushes for me anyhow. And again, it's somebody else could sit there and say all day long, Omega is the brush for me. Okay, fair enough. I will accept that argument. And I will say, man, that is great. I am very happy for you. Just didn't work for me. Got no problem if somebody else loves Omegas or somebody else loves something completely different. No problem at all. But for me, on my journey anyhow, the Samogs have been hands down winners. So anyhow, the pretty much the final shave. I mean, I got a whole week's worth of shaves. Well, for the most part, because I did augment it a bit with a straight razor. But for the most part, the Gillette Silver Blue that I have in the Fat Handle Tech has lasted all week and done a very nice job and given a very nice shave for the whole week. So it's time. I will put the clean the Samog or the clean the Samog. I will clean the Gillette Fat Handled Tech, clean it up, put it back in the case, and put it back on the shelf. It has been a good go-around this time. And if all goes well, next week, because I am so happy to report this, I am just absolutely ecstatic to report this. I found my small shaving kit. I found my little Altoids tin shaving kit. I found my Mercure Bakelite razor. Yeah, good stuff. I was so happy. It was in my truck. It was in the back pocket of one of the seats in my truck. It's like, wow, I don't remember putting it there. And, you know, I thought it would have been up in my den or something like that. No, it was in my truck. Oh, jeez. Everything ends up in my truck. Yeah, everything important anyhow. At one time or another, I kind of live out of my truck. Well, I know I shouldn't, but I kind of do. Anyhow, that was great news. So next week I'm gonna play around with it, and I may, horror of horrors, do a comparison between a Bic Good News, which is a two-bladed razor, but it is a lightweight disposable, just to do a comparison on weights and things like that. I don't know. I just wanted to play around with it. That was my original intent way back when, and I may go ahead and do that, just to I don't know, just to see. So that's all good stuff, because you know it's always nice when a plan comes together and you know, you find what you were looking for, and you go, now we can move forward with what we intended. So, shave of the day turned out to be absolutely wonderful. Again, it's just a good thing. So this weekend I had something interesting happen. Apparently, the every house has a water pressure reducing valve. And what this thing does is reduce the water pressure going into your fixtures, your washer, your dryer, basically your whole home watering system or water system. It reduces the pressure down from the level at the street, or you know, if you have like a well pump or something, you may have excess pressure at your well pump and need a reducer to bring it down to a level that you know your system will tolerate more easily. So, anyhow, my pressure at the street is about 120 psi. My reducing valve failed, and when it failed high, which means it failed so that all of a sudden every fixture that I had was seeing 120 pounds worth of pressure. Now, how did we notice this? My son flushed a toilet, and under normal circumstances, when the toilet valve is you know, filling the tank up, you know, it's a nice, calm stream and not a lot of noise and everything. At 120 psi, it sounds like a rocket ship is taking off inside the tank. So it was quite exciting, and unfortunately, I didn't get to it till Sunday. But luckily, nothing broke, nothing snapped, nothing gave way. So that's good. So I'm under the house, and I'm looking around under the house and changing out this valve. Now, first off, the valve itself is pretty easy to change out. I mean, it's got a 3/4 inch threaded fitting on one end and a union coupling on the other. And so it's not something that is terribly difficult to do, and if you have a basic understanding of tools and things, you know, you could easily change one of these things out by yourself. So that's nice, because if you have to call a plumber to change one of these things out, it would probably be a tad expensive. I mean, the valve itself is, I don't know, $60-$70 somewhere in there. Now, I got under there, and the first bit of consternation is you know, this valve's been in place for, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and trying to get it undone off of the threaded coupling was, well, just a tad problematic. I ended up getting it, but it was like, man, I hope I don't twist the fittings off of this pipe. But we, you know, got it off, so I got the old one off, cleaned everything up, put everything back together. The old one at the union had a big rubber seal. The new one had little bitty O-ring. So I go and I put the thing all back together, tighten up the union, turn the water on, and it's leaking everywhere out of the union. And I'm like, what the heck? Snug it up a little bit more, still leaking. This should not be happening. Look down, and there is that stupid O-ring laying on the ground. Crap. So now the problem is that I've snugged everything up without the O-ring in it, and doggone it, if it's not, well, snug. Doesn't want to come loose. Fight with that for a little bit. Finally get it undone. Clean the O-ring off, put it back in place, and of course, voila, perfection. Everything back down to a nice, reasonable 40 pounds. So things are good. So that was interesting. Now, during that same day, I look out, and it has been raining here just abundantly. So I look out, and the pond in the backyard there, just outside the backyard, I look at it, and doggone, if it's not about, 2 feet, 3 feet down from its top level, I'm like, what the hey? This is right along the lines of abnormal. And so I go walking over, and there is a busted spot in the overflow pipe. There's a hole basically in the side of the dang thing. Like, well, what the heck, So I go and talk to there's another one of the homeowners on the pond, and he's standing there looking at it. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he says, I don't know. It just looks like it's been down for a while. And I'm like, well, it shouldn't be down. We've had all this rain. It should be up a good ways. Well, I don't know what's wrong with it. Okay. So I go and I look. Now, meanwhile, I come to the realization that this hole has been there for a while. I mean, we're talking a year. And nobody, absolutely nobody, has taken it upon themselves to do anything. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck? This is not difficult. This is not rocket science. I get some plastic sheeting material folded over about 6 times, and throw that over the hole and to plug it up, and then take a plastic bucket and cut a chunk out of the side of it so that it can, basically go over that plastic sheeting and protect it and hold it in place and everything. And voila, there you go. Fixed. So that's what I did. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, am I that different that I'm willing to go out and, get dirty and get wet and actually fix things? And everybody else is just kind of standing around and going, oh, gee, that's a shame. Somebody ought to do something about that. And then it dawns on me, well, good God, this so-called throwaway society, we've gotten to the point where it's not only just a throwaway society, but it's also a stand around and look at things that are broke society. We've gotten to the point where if we can't go out and buy a new one, or, call somebody to come fix it for whatever price, that we're pretty much just screwed. And it is amazing. And I'm thinking to myself, holy cow, this is a sad statement. I mean, it really is. It's a sad statement. I mean, does that mean if something happens to somebody's house, the homeowners just basically walk outside and stand out there and look at it and go, gee, that's a shame. Somebody should come fix my house. And then you wonder why the government is taking over. Well, if the people aren't going to do it themselves, who else is going to? It's just, it really is an amazing thing. It used to be back in the day when I was growing up, one of the things I used to amuse myself with is I would go to the library, and in the library were volumes. There were hard copies of, hardbound copies of all of the popular mechanics, popular science, and Mechanics Illustrated magazines that had ever been printed since day one. And I remember paging through these things day in, I'd go up there and I'd spend hours just paging through these things, looking at all of the all of the things that people were building and making and things like that. It's not like a Popular Mechanics of today. A Popular Mechanics of today is basically just a publication of marketing. It's really nothing more than a bunch of advertisements and pitch jobs for the latest and greatest this, that, or the other thing. Yeah, it's got a few articles, but I mean, quite honestly, in today's Popular Mechanics, they don't really talk about making things. Well, back in the day, Popular Mechanics, that's all it was how to build this, how to build that. Here are the plans, here are the diagrams, how to do this, how to do that. That's what it was. And even the advertisements in the back, for the most part, buy kits here, buy parts here, it was all to support people, making things and building things and doing things. We were a society that did that. We were a society that, you didn't go out and buy stuff. You didn't ask somebody to come over to fix a toilet. You did it yourself because, first off, it's not that hard. And, that it's just, and we've gotten to the point where, I don't have time. I can't be bothered. I'm too important. Okay. From an economic standpoint, I like the fact that people are hiring other people to do stuff and all. Okay. But there are some things that you go, okay, why? It's like there is the water valve at the outside of your house called a sillcock. And those things are meant to be reamed out, relapped, and rebuilt, basically. So when they start to leak or whatever, you don't go and get a new one. You rebuild the old one. And they even had little lapping or reamers that fit down in there to redo the valve seat and everything. I mean, it was just. I was having a conversation with a guy at work the other day, and he was talking about the doing valve jobs on vehicles, and you had the little hand lapper so you could redo the valve seat. Nobody would think of doing something like that nowadays. It's just they just wouldn't even think of it. No, take it to a machine shop. And it's gotten to the point where everything is done by someone. And it almost doesn't matter what it is. I mean, we have lawn services to come and cut your grass. And we have, the trash service to come and take out your trash, even if you're in a rural community. And you can throw the stuff in a pickup truck and take it to the dump collection center right there, and voila, it's done. Nah, that's, I don't want to get dirty. It's too much time, too much trouble. We'll pay somebody to do it. Okay? Pay somebody to cut the grass. Pay for somebody to take care of the pool. Pay for somebody to, do everything. It's just, okay, that's all well and good when you're in a situation where, you have the wherewithal to continue to pay. What the heck do you do when you don't have the ability to pay anymore? Now, it's one thing if you start out with the understanding and the ability to do this stuff, and you get yourself in a situation that, I have the disposable income, and no, I don't have the time, so I will pay somebody to do it. That's one situation. The problem is, and what I've seen and what I've witnessed, is people don't understand how to do this stuff to begin with. Which means if they ever get in a situation where they can't pay anymore, things just don't happen. There are people literally who I am convinced would have a difficult time starting a lawnmower with a Honda engine. It really is. It's a demise. It is a societal demise. And to a certain extent, you can see that in industry too, because for years we have known that the maintenance field, if you will, the industrial maintenance field, we can't find people to fill maintenance positions for our factories. It's very difficult. And part of the problem is because everybody's been told, you have to go to college to get a good job. And so they go to college and they come out and, they think that they're supposed to have an office and a desk and a phone and, maybe a secretary or whatever. But, it's one of these things where we have, as a society, gotten to the point where we don't we don't value somebody who can fix stuff. And the problem is that with the scarcity of people, the prices have risen. So, yeah, they're going to be valued here shortly because there's not enough of them to go around. And I'm here to tell you, if you're a mechanic or an electrician or a programmer, or heck, if you're all three, if you're someone who knows a bit of programming, a bit of electrical, and a bit of maintenance, mechanical maintenance, you can make an absolute killing in certain industries. You really can. And those types of people are sometimes hard to find right now. But you can find college graduates all over the place. They're the ones that are greeting you at Walmart and making your food at the local Wendy's because, well, they can't find a job. But it's all endemic of the same thing, of people standing around and saying, "Gee, that's broke. Somebody ought to come and fix it." Luckily, for the listeners of this audience, I would dare say that the majority of you guys probably do not fall into that category, because it's that category that picks up the disposable razor, and when it gets dull, you throw it out and pick up another one, or the cartridge razor or whatever, because, well, it's a little bit technical, and, it's a little bit hands-on, and it's a little bit against the societal marketing to nowadays pick up a single-edged or double-edged or a straight razor for your morning shave. So congratulations, guys. Let's all stand back, have a good shave, go out on the porch, maybe have a mint julep in the summertime, and watch the rest of society stand there and hope somebody comes and fixes it. Well, that concludes this episode of the Brush and Soap and Blade Podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you have some suggestions or would like a topic covered, drop me an email at BrushnSoapnBlade@gmail.com, or give me a call at 864-372-6234, or contact us on Twitter at BrushnBlade. You can also visit us at our blog, BrushnSoapnBlade.wordpress.com. As always, we're available on iTunes and Stitcher.